Hello, and welcome to Rosberry Crafts, my YouTube channel where I share all my crafty adventures. Today for you, I have another interview, and I have Kait and Rachel here. And they also have a YouTube channel, and I've been watching for a little while, but do you guys want to introduce yourselves, give us a little bit of who you are?
Sure. I'll go first. I'm Kait. Hi. I'm one half of the We Have Yarn for That podcast. I'm a knitter in Rhode Island, and I don't know why I just got really, but you could find me on Ravelry and on Instagram at Kate_knits_RI. Go ahead, Rach.
Okay. I'm Rachel. I am also a knitter and also sometimes a crocheter in Rhode Island. And my Instagram and Ravelry are at Beaches and Bobbles. And yeah, fun times.
Mhm. Awesome. Are you wearing anything handmade today?
I've been wearing hand knits all week.
Perfect. I love it. Do you want to talk
I
about the sweater you're wearing?
Sure. So I'm wearing my bumpy cardigan that I test knit for Max the Knitter. And I used, now Clockwork Fiber Co., formerly known as Beachy Breeze Fibers, her non-super wash base in a custom gray color that she dyed for me. And then the bumps are Spin Cycle in Never You Weary. And I love this thing. It's so cozy.
Awesome.
You wear it a lot. I'm wearing the Woodhaven Pullover that I test knit for Tiff Nealon.
It's done.
It is done. It's coming out
Ooh.
next week, so I haven't posted my FO photos. This is my favorite detail right here.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I held DK and mohair, so I got a lot of yarns going on here. I used On the Round plush DK in the October colorway Elusive Purple Pumpkin, and I held that with Knitting for Olive something unicorn. It was like a purple. And my kind of light gray was shoot.
Thought it was just like a random stash yarn you had.
It was. I got it at Skein. They had a whole bunch.
Dream Color.
Dream in Color.
Yeah.
Rabbit ears. Rabbit ears. And I held it with some La Bien-Aimée stash lace in the color Ghost. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's awesome. I love the texture on it. It's so pretty.
So fun.
It was fun. It was definitely a well-written pattern, and it had details for sleeve length, different cuff lengths, and cropped and standard body.
It looks like it fits better this time too.
So much better. That's why I put it on.
So much better.
Awesome. Yeah, and just for the viewers actually watching this, we're recording on March the 14th, but this will come out early April. So the pattern will be out, and I'll make sure to link it down below.
It's Pie Day.
It is Pie
It
Day.
is Pie Day today. I did not get pie.
I didn't either, and I'm sad.
You guys, can I brag on a student for a second?
Did they bring you pie?
No. So part of a math challenge was to see and I guess our math teacher on our team does this every year, to see how many decimals of pi they can memorize. One student had 120 digits of pi.
That's crazy.
I know. I'm like, are you a computer? It was wild, but super.
I got 5. That's as far as I can go.
5'9".
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Roz, what are you wearing?
I am wearing my ranunculus, which is the most popular pattern on Ravelry. And I knit it out of some Barocco Remix Light. So that's their recycled blend yarn. And it's like a tweedy kind of color.
Yeah.
Did you know that Barocco is a Rhode Island company?
Oh, No, I did not.
Their factory is here.
Oh, cool.
There.
I bought this actually on PEI on our summer trip.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we drove across Canada for 6 weeks in the summer. So this was one of the yarns I bought.
That's awesome. I still haven't made a
Yeah.
ranunculus, but it's on the list.
And I was gonna say, I feel like it's one of those things like we both just need to make so we can say we did it at this point. Because everybody else has made one.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny because I've made a love note as well, and I like the fit on the love note better.
Okay. I've
I
made
don't
two love.
know. So, I mean, and I made this one wide on purpose, and it's like super wide and super long, and I wear it with like leggings or whatever. But so maybe that's part of it because it's like cotton and it's big and it's airy, like sweatshirty. So
Mhm.
my love notes are a bit more, fancy.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So we'll get into a bit of story time. How did you guys start knitting and crocheting or crafting or whatever part of that journey you want to talk about?
Um,
Do you want to go or you want me to go?
I feel like I was always like a crafty kid, and I was always interested in arts and crafts and making things. And like I remember having like those latch hook kits when I was a kid and making those rugs and like the woven pot holders, and I
Mhm.
tried to cross stitch as a kid, all those things. But I didn't start knitting until my 20s. I want to say I'd been with my now husband for about a year, and I was just finishing up my master's degree. And I was talking to my mother-in-law about how I really wanted to craft. I wanted something to do, a hobby. And one day we were all at their house for like football on a Sunday, and she was knitting and she taught me how to knit. And I've never stopped. I like became obsessed with it, and I learned lots on YouTube, and I've never looked back. So probably about 9 years ago or so.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great story because it's, family and um, something that you can talk to her about sometimes too.
Yeah. She has
Yeah.
since like, not been consistent with it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. My mother-in-law's the same way. We used to knit a lot together, and she does it sometimes when she feels like it.
mhm. Exactly.
And I'm clearly a capital K knitter. I mean, look at my stash.
Yeah.
What about you, Rachel?
Um, so I learned how to knit almost 30 years ago, which is like, I don't feel like I'm that old, but apparently I am. I think I was like 7 or 8. And it was at after school care after school. And there was like an old retired teacher who took a small group of students into the back to learn how to knit. And I'm like, sure, I feel like being antisocial and not hanging out with everybody. But also, like Kait, I've always been a crafty person. I like did latch hooking and I always liked painting. I always got a new art kit every year for my birthday. I used to like hand sew badly clothes for my American Girl doll. So like it just kind of it just makes sense.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I learned like second grade, like 7 or 8, and I didn't really do much with it for a long time. Like I would knit badly scarves here and there because that's what you did back in the day, just like big long garter scarves. And then a friend taught me how to crochet in high school, and then I kind of dabbled throughout college, like nothing too serious, but I definitely crocheted a little bit more. And then oh my god, almost 7 years ago now, I had foot surgery and I was sidelined for an entire summer. And I had actually participated in a Reddit gift exchange. And I said that, oh yeah, like I like to like yarn and stuff. And somebody sent me a pattern for this ginormous crocheted, like, it was a Harry Potter quilt. So you crochet a different square and you like sew them all together. And that is when I used an ergonomic hook for the first time. And I started that blanket on the day of my surgery, and I finished that blanket the day before my cast came off. And there's been yarn in my hand pretty much every day since then. So I only crocheted for a long time, and I got introduced to indie yarn and then patterns and made my Instagram. And then when the pandemic hit, I was 5 months pregnant and losing my almighty mind. And I'm like, I'm gonna knit a sweater. That's what I'm gonna do. And I did. And now I have a sweater problem. So I have a huge sweater problem. So at this point, I knit more than I crochet, but it's because I've learned I don't really like the fabric for crocheted sweaters. I prefer the fabric of knit sweaters. And again, I have a sweater problem. So I'm usually knitting a sweater.
Yeah. Well, it's not a sweater problem per se. You just have a lot of them.
Ask my husband. He might.
A well-curated collection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got something for every occasion.
Sure do. Sure do. That's why our podcast is We Have Yarn for That, because we do.
And I often say that along with you guys when you're like, we have yarn for that. I'm like, I probably do too. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's always dream knitting going on in the background too, right?
Always.
Yeah. So speaking of sweaters, is that one of your favorite projects, or like, do you have a favorite project or something you go back to again?
How are you supposed to pick a favorite? Like every time this is my favorite, and I'm like, wait, no, this is my favorite. But like this is my new, I can't pick a favorite. I can say a sweater that I've consistently reached for and worn. No, sorry, my cat is like rubbing up on my ring stand. A sweater that I've reached for a lot is my Doppio sweater. So I finished that at the beginning of January, and the fit on it is just perfect. And it is pink as all pink can be. And I just love it. Some of my other most worn sweaters, my hoodie, my traveler hoodie. I wear that one a lot because it's fun and obnoxious, and I love it. And then when it gets a little bit warmer, my favorite warmer weather sweater is my Miserina. But that might be changing because Kait and I applied for a test knit, and I'm pretty sure it might be my new favorite.
And that's okay. You're allowed to change your favorite. What about you, Kait?
I agree. I think my favorite sweater, I feel like whenever I finish something, it's my new favorite, unless I have to go back and fix it, and then it sits in time until I'm not. So like right now, this is probably my new favorite, but it's almost getting like too warm here by at the afternoon to wear it. I didn't wear it all day today. I popped it on for this, to be honest.
That's beautiful today.
Yeah. But before this, I want to say my most worn sweater was probably my Spark Cardi and my Movement sweater, which kind of had like a sweatshirty pullover feel. And right now, it's funny that Rachel mentioned the Traveler because I'm working on my twin Traveler.
Yeah.
It's growing.
It's growing. Make sure you block it before you think you're ready to split.
I will.
I've heard that because of the way the stitch is, it stretches out a lot because it's alternating garter and stockinette, right?
Yes.
It's almost like
so it looks fabulous on camera.
Huh?
Should I go grab mine so it can be fabulous on camera?
Wow.
Sure.
It's almost like a vertical ribbing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, got like an accordion feel.
It's 3 knit, 2 purl, 3 knit, 2 purl. So it's real stretchy.
Yeah. And weren't you saying like it got wet once, Rachel, and it was like hanging down to like your knees?
It grew a lot. So I did finally wash it. But the neon bled a lot, so I have to redo all the I cords. But it's fine.
I think this will be a favorite of mine for like bring to the beach at night to like pop
Oh,
over.
absolutely.
Yeah, there's some that are just great for that. Just you can throw it on over anything.
Hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about some of your most challenging projects or projects you've had to redo or scrapped or
Um, I don't know. I have a hard time with brioche increases and not increases, but decreases. So I made a hat and the crown does not look right. So I just threw a big old pom pom on it and called it a day. Uh, so that's something I want to work on is like improving my brioche skills. Like increases I got down. Brioche itself doesn't intimidate me, but my decreases don't always look nice.
Mm.
Like I guess I'd go with that.
Do you find you have to like rip out and reknit parts of your sweaters, or do you just kind
Yeah,
of go with it?
kind of roll with it. My sheep camp I did, but that's because my original contrasting color didn't contrast enough. So I feel
Yeah.
like that is a problem I run into sometimes is like the colors that I picked don't quite work together. And so I have to like reevaluate. That's happened like 2 or 3 times.
What
um
about you, Kate?
I have 2 sweaters in timeout right now because after blocking, the sleeves are just way too long and I need
Oh,
to rip them back and take some out and try again. But right now I'm mad at them. And um I have like a super long standing whip. It's probably like 3 or 4 years old, my Rose Cardi, by Andrea Mowry. It was definitely so you knit it in quadrants and you seam and then you pick up a collar and it required a lot more skill than I had at the time I started it. And there were certain things that like I didn't really know about, like provisional cast on. I was like, oh, I'll just do a long tail cast on. And I'm like, now I know that provisional cast on is so you have live stitches. So I know I'll have to go pick out a cast on and unravel it so I can seam things together. And quite frankly, I'm not sure if that sweater will still fit me. Um, now that I've had a child, I don't think I'm shaped the same anymore. So I don't know. But the yarn is beautiful, and someday I do hope to finish it. It's just it's one
Cardigan
that
is definitely more forgiving than a pullover.
that's true. I could block the heck out of it and stretch it pretty good, but I don't know. I'll have to bust it out soon and work on it.
I still haven't seen it, so yes, you should.
You know, it's real deep in the stash. It's hiding.
Yeah.
That should be a question. What's your oldest whip?
Yeah.
That one for me.
What would mine be? Probably this sweater that I tested like 3 years ago at this point, where the body's done. I got half a sleeve done. I have a sleeve and a half to go, and I haven't done it.
Really?
Really,
There must have been something about it.
I didn't think it fit right,
Yeah.
but it fits just fine now. So
Mm.
probably that one.
Yeah,
But
I don't tend to keep whips if I'm not enjoying them, I'm just like, yeah, rip it out, do something
it's not
else.
even that I'm not enjoying them. Like my pink fist sweater that took me like 2 years to finish. It's not that I don't like it. I knit one. I had knit one already. I love knitting lace. I keep getting distracted by shiny new cast-ons. That's my
Well, yeah, that is always a problem for sure.
so I've
Um,
been monogamous lately, which is hard for me because like if I get bored, I don't have something else I can jump to. But I have deadlines on my next couple of projects, so I like need to get them done.
yeah, it seems like you guys do a lot of test knits, which
Oh,
often
this
have
is
deadlines.
yeah. This is the next two things I have are not for test knits. They're for something I'm doing at the end of May.
Oh, okay. Do you guys enjoy that kind of test knit?
Kate does.
experienced?
I do. So what's really funny is, and you've probably heard me say it on the podcast, that I always tell myself I'm done. I'm all done test knitting and I don't want to do it anymore. But so I've gotten better at like only applying for things that I really like. At the beginning, I think I was like caught up in this rush of like, people think I'm good enough to make their pattern, and I liked it. So I try to just do one at a time now, because that got me in trouble trying to like balance two at a time, or even I think there was at one point I had four going on at different points.
You did.
I did, and that was stressful. Yeah, and I don't want to like let a designer down and like ask for an extra day or anything like that. So I'm just trying to do one at a time. And even this year I was saying I didn't want to do any, and then this pattern was posted. I was like, "Oh, well, that's really pretty and I do want that." And I was it was in January, and I was in like a knitting slump, and I hadn't knit for like a week or two, and I just didn't know what I wanted to work on. And I just felt blah about it all. And I was like, "Oh, I have yarn in my stash for this." And so I applied. And then I saw another one that I'm working on now.
Which
and
one?
The Seymour tea from Primrose.
Oh, yep.
And then the what's it called? The one we applied for today.
The mermaid one that we applied for? I don't know what it's called, but it will from here on be known as the mermaid sweater.
I think it was like a seashell tea or something like that. It was color work and it's cute. I've been liking color work a lot lately, but I find that having a deadline helps me make sure that at the end of the day that I'm like, I am going to sit and knit instead of like scroll on my phone and be a waste of a human lump on the couch. So
I feel like deadlines do the opposite to me. There's like, I feel like an insane amount of pressure. And like, I'm like, like I'd rather just kind of do it on my own terms. But like I did already do a test knit this year. I did the tank, which I can't post on my Instagram for another couple of weeks. And then I put in for the mermaid tea because I had to. But like I don't like having deadlines on things. Like knitting on this sweater, this cardigan, even though I'm absolutely loving it, like I hate that I'm like, oh, I have to work on this because I have to have it done by this point. I just want to be like, well, I'm going to work on this today. I'm going to work on that tomorrow. I don't like, it's a mindset thing. I don't know how to shift that.
Yeah. And it does like put a damper on creativity a little.
I feel like it does. And I don't like that. I think that's what I don't like. Like, I don't being like, like, it's like being told like, you have to do this, even though I'm the one telling myself to do this. Like, I want to be able to like, no, I'm going to do this instead.
Have you ever listened to or seen the books from Gretchen Rubin called It's a Happier Podcast?
No.
She has a framework on different ways that people get things done in a day. And there's like obligers, and I can't remember all the ones, but you're definitely a rebel.
Yeah,
because you don't want anybody telling you what to do. You will do a lot of things, but you will do it on your own time when you want to.
That's my ADHD brain at its finest.
And I'm a people pleaser. So I'm like,
yeah.
Like me.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So we've already alluded to the fact that you guys have a stash, but how do you store your stash? Is it like in bins? Do you have it out? Is it all over the house?
So I use blankets to cover up half of the things that are hiding on this couch right now in project bags. But the majority of my stash lives
in the prettiest place.
In my china cabinet. So here's my china cabinet. I had it sorted. It is no longer sorted. So I got this cabinet on Facebook Marketplace for like $100, and I'm like, that can be used to store all my yarn. And I'm like, I need a second china cabinet.
Oh my god.
At one point I had it sorted by like, these were all going to be like sweaters, and this was going to be like yarn that I don't know what I'm doing with, and this is like accessories, and half of my shawls shoved in here at the bottom messily. And it's not like that anymore. I have stuff in bags. I think this is all skeins, like random pink skeins I have for a blanket. Yarn over here. There's my half of my sweaters, the ones that are not in my bedroom because I haven't worn them this week. It's everywhere.
It's awesome though. I mean, mine might look nicely organized, but you can't see down below what's on the floor here.
Mine is not on display, and I have
No, we
it.
still need to go through it.
Oh, I did.
I need to see.
Okay. Yeah, you can see my stash. It's in totes, like plastic tote bins under like the day bed in our spare bedroom / office, right? Something that was a big help to me. I used the spreadsheet that Ashley at Bennett
Senator.
puts out for free, I believe.
Mhm.
To categorize the yarn, the weight, how much you have, and I added a column for my bin number so I know where to go find it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's like, oh, how am I gonna know? But I didn't write numbers on the bin. I'm just like, all right, the first one that I threw under there, you're number 1. Number 2, number 3, and I think I have a little number 4. So I have quite a bit of yarn, and I want to be more mindful about using it. And so that's my goal.
So like I'm really happy. I'm also trying to be more mindful about using my yarn. So like I went hard the last couple of weekends on buying yarn, but I like anticipated that and I knew it was going to happen. So like I didn't buy yarn at all in February, like to prepare my wallet for being devastated this month. So I bought yarn from Through the Wardrobe, Selena's Bridgerton collection. She's just such a lovely human and her colors are so good and they were just so good. And then I had to get yarn from the Ever After collection from Treehouse Knits because Ever After is legit like one of my most favorite movies in the whole wide world. It has been since I was like 8 years old and I adore it. And so I'm like, oh God, I just bought a lot of yarn last weekend. Like I need to like figure something out. So I was able to destash. I think I destashed like 23 skeins of yarn over the course of a week. And I didn't get like top dollar for them, but I got enough to where all of the yarn I destashed covered my purchase last weekend. So I'm like, okay, like I can look at it in terms of this. Like if I really want something, why don't I try to sell some of the yarn I have that doesn't bring me as much joy, that like may have been an impulse buyer, like that's been sitting around for a while and is really nice, but I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, to get yarn that I know what I want to do with and I have a pattern in mind and I know what's going to happen. So I feel like that, and the spreadsheet, like looking at the spreadsheet and being like, oh, I didn't even know that I had that, like been really helpful.
Awesome. Yeah, and I do keep all of my yarn in Ravelry, but I also have a notebook that I use to keep track of how much I brought in and how many projects I finished, or if I sold yarn or whatever, to kind of keep track of it on the month. You guys have any of, are you just kind of like kind of going for the end goal, or do you track it on a regular basis?
Spreadsheet. So that's, I like tracked, I made like different tabs. I'm like, so these are the yarns I have that have a project that dedicated to them. These are the yarns I have that don't. And then I've been highlighting in a different color, like, okay, these are the ones I destashed. And I have a different column, like how many skeins have I used total this year? And I am including the destashed skeins in that. So I know that they've left, but I also have a separate column so I can see how many skeins I've destashed. So I feel like the spreadsheet has really been helpful. And I set a fairly hard limit for myself because I bought a lot of yarn last year. Just, I was tracking, but I wasn't like, okay, like let me step back. So looking at all the yarn I bought last year, I set a hard limit for myself of like 50 skeins of yarn this year. And, it's halfway through March and I'm like at 30, but like once I hit that 50, I'm going to be like, okay, like, I guess what I can do is if I sell yarn, then I can,
Bring in more
yarn.
Yeah. And it might also help you think like, like this is beautiful and amazing, but what am I going to do with it be more intentional about what you're buying. Even if you do go over the 50, you're taking that extra step of like, okay, I'm going to do this with this because I really like this. And, you have a plan,
Yeah.
and you're more intentional about it. That's always a good idea.
I added a similar tab to my spreadsheet, Rach, so I could track like yarn in and yarn out.
Yeah.
So far this year, I believe I have purchased 8 skeins.
What? No, I don't believe that.
Wait, hold on. 9. 8 or 9. So I
Nuh-uh.
bought like a cotton merino blend for a t-shirt. A t-shirt pattern that I saw, and I got the pattern for free from one of those. Somebody in our group sent like, oh, it's Friday and this pattern's free. And I was like, oh, I like that. And then I bought the Botanical Yarns 5 skein fade. And that's it.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. I did buy, I'm a big liar. I do have Sam's spring. I signed up for the spring colors, the 3. So I guess that I'll be up to 12.
Still, I'm at like 31, I think. But I've destashed so I've used / destashed like 34 skeins so far this year. So I'm like, that's like tit for tat. It's even. So therefore, like, it's good.
That's true. And this whole sweater I made with stash.
I know. It's amazing.
That's
and
awesome.
the other test knit I'm doing is also from stash.
Do you have yarn picked out for this new potential test knit?
Ooh, yeah. I was thinking of using the botanical yarn, the fairy lights that we have twinsies of.
Oh, yeah. That would maybe we can make matching ones. Maybe I'll do that.
White seashells from some leftover white fingering I've got. If we're selected, maybe we can have twinsy sweaters.
Let's do
when the pattern gets put out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I mentioned earlier that I drove across Canada this summer, and I didn't keep track of the skeins, but I bought 11,000 meters of yarn. So it was a lot.
Yeah.
I track mine in meters because different skeins have different, and I'm Canadian, so we do meters, not yards.
So I know you said you got your remix light for your ranunculus. Did you use anything else from your trip yet?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I'm just looking. I don't think so.
So did you go from like one side of Canada to the other?
Yeah, so where I live is in British Columbia. We're kind of like 4 hours inland, so we're not mid-province. But yeah, and then we drove from here. We're near Kelowna, and then drove all the way out to PEI. So we didn't get to Newfoundland and Labrador, but all the rest of it we did.
That's amazing. That's all.
Yeah, we have a travel trailer.
Perfect. I keep telling my husband one day with my sister and my brother-in-law, we're gonna have to rent an RV and like drive to California, but we'll fly back.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the way home was a little like moop moop.
Yeah. Fun's
Yeah,
over.
we have another trip planned for this summer, but we're just doing Northern California and Oregon for 6 weeks.
Just,
Yeah. Yeah, we've done most of California already, and in 2018, but we didn't get to the Redwood Forest, so we're just kind of dipping down in to do that area. Yeah,
it'd be so nice.
yeah. So it's all booked up. And I guess we're doing some Washington State as well because of course that's how we get back to BC. So, but we did book. There's an amusement park called Silverwood. We booked 2 days there, and it's only 1 day drive home from there. So that's like the end of the trip. Fun.
Or two, yeah.
Yeah, something to look forward to. So, yeah, so it'll be good. Do you guys have a favorite color that you often work with, or you just go all over the place?
This question for both of us.
Well, I'm gonna say pink. Pink.
Pinks and purples.
Yeah.
I'm definitely in a lavender moment.
Yeah.
I love lavender is speaking to me right now, but all the pink, all the time. Bright, bright pink, baby pink. I don't like bubblegum pink. That's not really my jam. But like all the other pinks.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of pink sweaters, but I have a lot of purple sweaters. Like
That's okay. Yeah.
like purple sweaters. However, today I'm wearing blue, so you know. Yeah. Do you guys just gravitate to that because that's the yarn you're gravitating towards? Or do you like you're like, ooh, that's pretty, and then buy it and then be like, oh, I have another pink sweater on the needles? Or do you kind of just be like, well, I'm just embracing it. I love pink and I'm just gonna wear it all the time.
I embrace pink and wear it all the time. But I try to be like, okay, if I'm gonna get yarn, I try to have a project in mind for what I want to do with it. Doesn't always work out, and sometimes it changes. But a
Hmm.
lot of the colors that I tend to be drawn towards are more pinks and like purples and like mermaidy colors, like certain like teals and blues. Not so much yellows, except mustard. Not so much orange, like not really neutrals. Pink is my neutral. Um, yeah, but just colors I find myself drawn to. It's like, oh, look at that, another pink sweater.
I'm kind of similar. Or if I see a yarn, like lately, well, when I first started knitting and I was new to indie dyed yarn, I was very caught up in the, ooh, like not realizing that colorways could be repeated because I didn't know anything about dyeing. I still don't know anything about dyeing, but like when I would see something come out, I'm like, oh, got to get it right away. And now I try to be more mindful too. But now there's sometimes like I'll see a color and I'll have to go find a sweater that I can make with it because I'm like, I know I want that. But yeah, pinks and purples tend to be where I'm at.
Like my treehouse knits yarn. I'm knitting an emerald green sweater, like a dark emerald green sweater with pink for color work, but like it's totally not my normal color. Green does tend to look good on me, mango, but it's more like again because it's an ever after collection. Like the name spoke to me, and like the name with the scene is just so perfect, and I'm like, I gotta do it.
Yeah.
That's pink.
Yeah, sometimes the yarn is just like, you know, it speaks to you and maybe it's not your favorite color or a color you normally knit, but yeah.
It's good to venture outside of. I don't only have pink sweaters. It is outside your comfort sometimes.
Mhm.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. I tell my 12-year-old that all the time. She's not into pink.
That's
She's a
okay.
tomboy. Yeah, and that's okay.
I
But
didn't like pink really. I liked it when I was like little, and then I've like re-embraced it as an adult. And I'm like, I don't care what other people think.
yeah, wear the pink. Absolutely. Awesome. And then that kind of leads, excuse me, that kind of leads into, you know, how do you decide on a project? Obviously, you guys both have a large stash, so we've already talked about how you're trying to use from your stash. Do you, maybe more about like the yarn weight? Do you be like, okay, I have some sock weight yarn and go look for a sock pattern or a sock weight, fingering weight sweater, or do you just wait for the sweaters to come to you and then figure out what you have?
Both,
Yeah.
both. So sometimes it's like, oh, I like didn't realize I had these. And so the first thing I do is like look through my Ravelry favorites and I use the filters to try and sort out and be like, oh yeah, like that would be perfect for this yarn. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, but that pattern. So sometimes I see the pattern and I'm like, do I have anything in my stash? And so I try to like go through that first and then I'll hunt some down. Like I feel like it's both. I feel
Yeah.
like it's a for you, Kait.
What'd you say?
Like sometimes it's you have yarn that you really want to use, so you hunt for a pattern, and sometimes you find a pattern and you really want to find the yarn.
Right. And I feel like lately it's been more like, ooh, pattern. Let me go look for the yarn.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Um, so do you either of you have a local yarn store that you go to?
We do. We're lucky to have two within like 10 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We've
You want to give
got,
them a quick plug?
yeah, we've got Skein Yarn Shop over in East Greenwich. And we've got the Mermaid's Pearl in Wickford. And like Rachel said, they're like 10, 15 minutes apart. Um, they both have beautiful things and different things from each other. So they do carry some of the same, like some of the same yarns, but not always. So it's kind of like you can find a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Awesome. And then my next question is, do you guys knit when you're in public or do you just do it at home?
It goes everywhere with me.
Do you knit at
We
school?
I run a yarn club at school. If we're watching a movie and I don't like the end of the year, last year I was knitting on this cardigan because I'm like, I don't have anything to grade. So we're watching this documentary and I'm going to knit on it. I've taken it to the movies. I take it when I go to see musicals. I take it to restaurants. It goes everywhere. It's like my safety blanket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Awesome.
I've been more likely to knit in public since meeting Rachel.
Hmm.
Before that, I kind of felt like an imposter knitter and was like, oh, I don't want people to talk to me about this. And
Right, right.
I don't want to be judged. But now I definitely, like, if I'm waiting for a doctor's appointment or I always keep something in the car in case my daughter falls asleep and I'm like nap trapped in the car. So, like, I have something to work on.
Totally.
If I'm out with like knitting friends, yes, I tend to not like knit at a restaurant with a non-knitting friend or my husband. But definitely in the car. So more than I
Yeah,
used to, but not in every location.
yeah. I got this tin. I don't know. It's hard to read because it's on green, but it says, if I can't take my knitting, I'm not going.
I love that. And
Yeah.
every year we have state testing. And where we have to like proctor for hours. And so I usually bring a little something. So I'm like
I,
walking around.
I am not allowed to knit during proctoring.
Really? I don't know. Nobody ever told me I can't. I
I
can.
tried and was told I can't.
Oh, I wonder why.
Whatever. It's fine.
Like I'm not staring down the whole time. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably some person who doesn't understand,
Right.
you know. Yeah, because I'm on the parent advisory council at my school, and we have quite a few meetings and stuff, and I'm always knitting through the meetings and whatever. And one of the dads was like, "Oh yeah, I should bring in my model painting," and I'm like, "Well, that is an entirely different thing. You can't not look at that while you're doing it. I can follow a conversation better because I have my knitting in my hands."
Again, ADHD brain, this is like my fidget toy. It helps me to focus better, which is also why I take it so many places.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And how does your family think of your knitting? They're probably fairly used to it, but do they roll their eyes or
Yeah.
ask for stuff?
Um, Not so much eye rolling. My husband's fully embraced it. A few years ago, I taught him how to knit and he made a scarf for his cousin. It was very cute. Um, but he's kind of like, cool, I did it. I don't ever need to do it again. But he embraces it. He's happy to see less packages showing up so far this year. He's like, oh, squishy mail. I know it's in here. But yeah, and he runs really warm, so he's not a person who ever wants a sweater. I've made him one hat and he'll wear it when he shovels snow for a little while and then it's off. Um, I've made small things for my daughter. She likes to like touch the yarn and smell the yarn and hold the yarn, and she'll take knitting needles and sit there and kind of like click them together and pretend.
Mhm.
But she's gotten good at not touching mommy's knitting. Um, my parents think it's cool. They don't really comment on it. Sometimes I make them things. My mother-in-law always asks me to make her stuff. which is weird because she's the one who taught me how to knit. So, but she doesn't really stick with it super long. So she would want a sweater, but probably not
have the motivation to actually finish.
Yeah, or the commitment, because she kind of picks it up here and there. So it's kind of like, oh, like if I start it now, it's not a quick turnaround kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But yeah, I bring it to like family parties, and usually people will be like, oh, what are you working on? And I tell them about it.
Awesome. Cool. And then so we'll get into a bit more of a story time again. How did you guys meet? I know
We
you've
met
probably told it on your podcast. I'm gonna repeat it now.
at the store. We met at Skane.
Yeah.
Kait in there, and I just happened to walk in one day and like sat down for knitting time. And then did I friend you on Instagram that day? I think that might have friended you on Instagram. And then I had remembered when we were talking, and I'm like, oh, she said she had a kid. Like, why don't we go like meet up with the kids sometime? And so then we did. And then we learned that she's married to somebody my sister went to elementary school with, because this state is real small. And yeah, it's just kind of like blew up from there.
Yeah.
You want to add to that?
I was gonna say like we like definitely became like fast friends that summer. It was like the second time I had ever gone to Skane and like sat down to knit, because like I said before, I was kind of like feeling that knitter imposter syndrome. And I think I was sitting there and there might have been one or two other women at the table, and you came in and like we just said hi, introduced ourselves, and it's like, oh, like I have a kid, you have a kid. You're a science teacher, I'm a science teacher. Like, and then I was so glad that you reached out, because I probably wouldn't have just because I'm like anxious. But Rachel's really good at collecting groups of friends with similar interests and getting them all together. And so I love that about you. So I want to say, so we probably only met like 2 summers ago. So our
Yeah.
kids were you.
Yeah, because I tried to get you to go to Rhinebeck with us in 2022, and you're like, I like just met you.
I should have went.
Would have been fun.
It would have been. Yeah.
And what inspired you guys to start your YouTube channel?
That is what started it. So I had a podcast previously with somebody else, and that kind of fell apart once I had Owen and, you know, the pandemic and everything. So we were sitting in the Rhinebeck house the first time I went, and I'm like, man, I kind of miss it. Like, it was fun, just like connect with people and talk about what you're doing. My friends were like, why don't you just do it again? I'm like, but I'm going to do it by myself. And I'm like, you know what? I bet I know somebody who'd be interested. So I texted Kait while I was at Rhinebeck. I'm like, hey, I have this crazy idea. And she's like, okay.
Let's try it. And I don't think we've recorded an episode yet this year because our kids are always sick. And if it's not them, it's us.
Seriously, it's been the year of like never ending sickness.
I feel that too. And I have middle school children that, you know, do actually wash their hands.
Right.
Yeah. I lost my voice last month because I just got so sick, and I just, well, and you're a mom, so you just keep doing and doing. And then eventually my body was like, and you're done.
Yeah.
Like, if you won't stop, I will make you.
Exactly. Well, and in my day job, I do tech support, so I'm on the phone a lot. So that was fun. Yeah.
I've been like,
no, for sure.
I feel like my elementary teacher past is coming out, because like in my science class where I have 7 sinks, and I'm like, hey guys, let's wash our hands before lunch. Like, and so even though they're 11 and 12, I'm like, all right, everybody get a squirt of soap. Let's scrub up.
Mm-hmm.
But
Totally.
like, everything has been going through the school.
Just say, and none of us have norovirus, but I saw that norovirus is going around again. The custodian, because I had to talk to him about the garden that I'm putting in. He's like, yeah, I got called to the cafeteria 6 different times today for puke. And I'm like, uh-oh.
And they're in high school. Like, can't they get it in the trash can?
I guess if it hits you that suddenly.
Oh, maybe not. Yeah. Ooh.
They're in
Ooh.
denial.
Yeah.
They'd rather hang out with their friends.
Like, I don't want to do that here, so I'm just gonna not try not to do that here.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, what are you currently working on? We got a sneak peek of the traveler hoodie already.
I currently splitting for sleeves
Ooh.
on my cottage cardigan. So this was gifted to me by my yarn Santa. My friend Brian very generously is like, here's a bunch of yarn I'm not gonna like knit with. And it was all like La Biename yarn. And he's like, I think this would be perfect to make a cardigan because he already made one of these. And he's like, we should have matching cardigans. So this is with La Biename anemone on Kumo, which is the Surrey base, and merino sock held together. And it is the fluffy lavender cardigan of my dreams. And I'm actually knitting this because I turned 35 this year and I feel like I'm starting to have a little bit of a midlife crisis. So I'm like, you know what? I'm doing boudoir photos for myself and I'm making some hand knits to wear for photos because why not?
Why not? Exactly. That's great. I love the color of that. I'm usually like a deep jewel tone kind of person, but that is an amazing, and the fluff on it.
The halo is
Yeah.
so good. Like it's so good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I
That's
want
awesome.
it.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the middle of a row, so it's going to look crazy, but I am working on the biggest shawl I've made to date. So.
Whoa.
Oh,
What is that?
So there's a podcast called the Northern Knits Podcast, and other Canadians.
yep.
And they did a mystery knit along, and it's Dungeons and Dragons inspired. And then so you answer the quiz questions, and you're either more like Jocelyn or more like Diana, and that determines which clue you knit. So there's
That's
two
so
different clues,
cool.
two different patterns for each of the 6 clues. So this is clue 1, and I'd have a 6 skein fade from Fireweed Fiber Co. I know shipping in Canada is crap, but if you ever get a chance to get Fireweed Fiber Co. yarn, it is amazing. Her color sense is amazing. So that's the clue 1. It's kind of like a slip stitch thing, and then there's like a lace panel for the 2,
Ooh.
and then
That's
there's
super
some texture. It's just like knits and pearls on that one, and another lace panel, kind of stacked. It's hard to see because the yarn's so busy, but yeah, there's a stacked. And then I'm just finished the 5th one. As you can see, the yarn is getting much darker, and then I'm just doing the transition to the 6th yarn, which is I gotta reach it. This like
Oh,
it has there is purple to it, but it's like super super dark. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
That's
yeah,
so fun.
but it is, and it's triangle shaped, but you can't tell because I'm still on the needles. But yeah, it's gonna be
Right.
a huge triangle. So
lady for us.
yeah, it's a blanket.
So
But
cozy.
I'm gonna wear a blanket and it's stylish, so
It's a schlank.
it is a blanket. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm currently working on. I mean, I have other projects, but that's what I'm currently knitting.
Do you
Rachel.
play or are you just doing the pattern?
Hmm?
Do you play D&D or are you just doing the pattern?
Oh no, I play D&D. So we have a group. I just dropped 2 stitches. Hold on.
Oh, no.
So I got them back on. My husband and I play in a group, a local group, but one of the guys moved away, so now we play on Zoom, which is,
Oh, that's fun.
it's fine. Yeah. And then we play with my family. So my husband does a campaign for the kids and us. So yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah. And the
We
kids
have
do it themselves sometimes too, just the 2 of them. My
yeah,
son has done it with some different groups at school. They have like a lunch club that does it and stuff. So yeah, it's super fun.
we haven't worked on our campaign since like before Christmas because sickness. We were supposed to meet up this weekend and Alicia's kid has strep, so that didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, so we play with like friends of ours that we've known forever that we happen to live in the same city again. And then and their two kids are about the same age as my kids. So it's nice when we can get together.
Yeah.
And then there's two other guys and their wives don't play. So it's nice when we can do it in person, but we're far enough away that it just wouldn't happen if we didn't do it on Zoom. So
Yeah.
it works. It works. It's, it's can be a little choppy. Sometimes people get distracted with other things and they're like, oh, wait, what's happening? We've gotten pretty good at using some of the online software to kind of keep track of the maps and stuff for battles. So yeah,
That's
yeah,
fun.
we've been, oh, what is the campaign we're in? We're in space. We're in the different worlds. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, but it's the Exandria world, but in space. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, so we have like a starship that we fly around on.
Oh,
But it's
fun.
basically like a pirate ship that has like an air bubble on top of it.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And then yeah, the kids we do more traditional gameplay just to kind of get them into it a bit more. Yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I never did it until like, I don't know, I want to say like a decade ago. And now we just do it all the time. So we watch Critical Role, we watch lots of D&D stuff. We were just
Yeah.
learning about Daggerheart, their new roll top game that they're coming up with. They're creating
Oh,
their own. Yeah. So it's more simple. It's a more simplified version to try and keep the gameplay going a bit faster,
mm,
more role play heavy, and then yeah, to keep the combat kind of moving a bit faster. So then it's not as bogged down with the specifics of it. So
mm.
yeah, it looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool.
Targeted Instagram ad for like a couple's D&D campaign. So it's like a whole book and it's got maps at the back and you can play with just the two of you. And I'm like, you know what? We haven't played in a really long time. Like, let's do this.
Yeah, we play a lot of board games too. So
I miss.
the kids, yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there. Yeah, my
So
son's almost 14 and my daughter's 12, and we can play pretty much any board game. Like I don't know if you've seen the Queen by Midnight. It's like a deck building game.
No.
Um, yeah, it's complicated. Like I'm having a hard time understanding it, and we played it a few times and the kids love it. So it's fun.
That is fun.
Yeah. And we play like, Monopoly Deal and Sorry and everything too, right? Like you just do it all. They love it. Yeah. And actually my son, well, he's probably eating dinner right now because it's 6 o'clock here, but he was coding his own game earlier.
That's amazing.
So it's like a tag game where you have two little characters and you like chase each other around the screen. One person's trying to chase the other one, and then if you tag them, then you get
It's
points or whatever. Yeah.
ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's really sounds fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're big into that kind of stuff around here. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's all the questions I had. Do you guys have any other pressing topics you want to talk about?
can't think of anything.
I can't.
No. That's all
My
good.
brain is fried. It's 9 o'clock here.
Yeah, I know. It is late. It is late. I did
Um,
think about grabbing a cider, but I'm heading out to TAF class in a bit, so I gotta drive.
fun.
Yeah.
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 I'm
You've
glad we got you.
yeah, yeah. So Will, thank you for, chatting with me today. And it's been lovely to kind of, get to know you guys a bit more.
You too,
Thanks
Rob.
Yeah, awesome.